All right, aloha friends. Happy Monday. It's Brian Goss here, Game Time with the Goss, brought to you by GM Sports Media and Get Recruited websites. It's finally game day. Fall sports back in action, especially volleyball. Opening day tonight, August 7th. You can start keeping track of your stats and win-loss records. Very exciting here. And to be joined by my good buddy, Chuck Licata with Big Daddy Media. Good to have you on here, Chuck. I'll start with this question. I know a
hmm
lot of football friends in the media that kind of log in their games and stadiums, number of games they go to. Is that something that you've ever done, or do you still do that with volleyball, or you just kind of you go wherever you want?
That's funny. I am more about, Ryan, I'm more about the people as opposed to the places. I've been blessed. I've been, Butch, we talked about Butch Hart, the grand poobah of volleyball. He's been doing it since 83. I've actually been doing high school sports since 86 and was mostly football until about, 99 when we covered the Westwood team that won the 5A and then kind of get into volleyball. But I'm more about the people that I've had a chance to see. Stadiums are stadiums of, I'm sure you too been to the old Cowboy Stadium, and been to other stadiums that are iconic. But to me, it's about the chance to see people. I mean, like for instance, when I was in San Antonio, I covered Shaq when he was at high school at San Antonio Holmes. Charles Outlaw played for Orlando for a number of years. He was at J High School. Priest Holmes. He was actually Anthony Holmes when he started at San Antonio Marshall. He had a fullback named Anthony Reza who was as good as Rocky Blyer, as much of a compliment to him as Rocky Blyer was the Franco Harris back in the day. So you can understand that. And little known fact, the Marshall Rams of Anthony Holmes played rotating quarterbacks. One of the only city or the only team in the city at the time that played rotating quarterbacks. Covered all the pro teams. The San Antonio teams, San Antonio, the Astros, Oilers, and Rockets, Cowboys, Rangers, and Stars. And I love hockey, so we won't go into that. But to me, it's about the people. Like, for instance, at the high school realm, Jerry Vance at Liberty Hill won 2 championships with the what was a 3A team back then. He was kind of the one that really got the slot T thing going. Okay, so that was a lot of fun. I was there to a smaller extent. I was doing radio coverage when Lake Travis won 5 state championships in a row. Stuff like that. Now on the volleyball side, and of course, I'm going to talk volleyball. Jan Barker, one of the greatest coaches ever, period. Karen Keeney, by the way, news alert, Karen Keeney is still coaching this year at Hebron High School, okay? Just so everybody knows, she's still coaching, hasn't retired. Jeff Coker at 2A's, who's taken Crawford to a great run. Susan Brewer at Belleville, she's got 9 state championships. Sandy Fawcett just retired at Waxahachie. Michael Kane just cemented himself as an all-time legend by winning state at 6A. So, current ones, Natalie Puckett, I think is going to be one of the best coaches ever. Following the person that a lot of people call the GOAT in Ryan Mitchell, who's now at Prestonwood, who, by the way, dominates your top 50 players with 7 of them.
Yeah.
Yes, I do read your
I
stuff.
appreciate that.
Michael Dearman, one of the nicest guy in the world. Michael Dearman has never denied me an interview request. That's how nice he is. Lauren McPherson, we love Lauren McPherson at Blum. So for me, it's about the people, and it's about getting a chance to form relationships, that last a long time. I could call Jan Barker right now, say, Jan, we're doing game day with the Goss. How about joining in? Sure, we can hook her up on the, mixer. She joined right in. So to me, it's about, and you and I have developed nice relationships since I've been at Granbury. Unfortunately, Granbury hasn't done much on the court, but, you and I have had a chance to work some broadcasts, and we'll work the NISD Classic again coming up in 2 weeks. So,
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, there's some really good coaches out there who are very good to us media guys. Before we
yes.
started the video here, you mentioned, you kind of this year you kind of want to go to games, just cover more games, and kind of step back from the broadcasting. Um, and kind of going along with the first question, but I mean, is there really a team on your list or a school or gym that you can think of you've never seen in person that you want to cross off your sort of your bucket list?
I was thinking about that, and gosh, I've covered so many in my lifetime, and again, been so blessed to have that opportunity. I can't think of one, and the reason being is kind of goes in hand with what you're just talking about, cutting back on the broadcasting so I can go out and cover more teams. I hope to get to Houston. I want to see the Ridge Point gym. Last year I finally saw the Flower Mound gym. So there's just so many places that I don't have, like a top ranking or, a bucket list for whatever. But like I said, I want to see more teams. I want to be able to see Allen. I think Allen, and, a little preview to what's coming up in a little bit, I think Stephanie Poole's got that Allen team ready to go. Hebron, I'll see them. We'll see them at the NISD Classic, but, I think they're going to be pretty good this year. So, and again, kind of going back to where we were, saw Demetrius Sands with Jay, Annie Benbow of Hebron, probably the greatest libero ever to play, Bree and Danielle as setters, now coaches in the same district. That's going to be, one knockout fun right there. So, I hope to see like that match, Byron Nelson and Keller in district. Oh my God, how fun is that going to be? Plano West and Flower Mound. How fun is that going to be? So yeah, that's kind of where. So to answer your question, no, nothing as far as rankings, but man, I want to see so many matches this year.
Yeah, joked around last year with the Barker sisters. Just that must be a fun Thanksgiving or Christmas when someone beats you twice or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited too because most of the time just covering Tarrant County schools, I haven't gotten to see a lot of Dallas area schools, so I'm excited to see the Allens, Plano West, Prestonwood. I've never seen Prestonwood, so hopefully I get
Wow, I saw that 5 times last year.
yeah,
It was amazing.
yeah, 40-1 state champs.
Yeah, and Cornerstone Christian out of San Antonio, Mike had them. They were nationally ranked the entire year. I think they finished number 3 in the national rankings. So,
and they were the only ones to give Prestonwood a loss.
That's right. Yep, that's right. And the Woodlands was the only one of 2 teams to give Cornerstone a loss. They beat them in the Pearland tournament in pool play.
So yeah, I mean, you've been covering volleyball for a long time. I mean, would you say maybe Amarillo and Jan Barker are kind of in terms of one team you've seen the most?
Seen the most?
Yeah.
I've seen them enough, but I would say probably have to go back to my Austin roots. And of course, I called Liberty Hill when Gretchen Peterson was there. I started that in 07 and was there till 17. So I saw a lot of Liberty Hill, and, like a lot of programs that you've talked about and written about and will continue to write about this coming year and into future years. In 07, when I started, they didn't have a girl who played club volleyball on their team. So obviously they were, struggling for 3rd or 4th in the district. Gretchen, a former player who won 2 state medals at Round Top Carmine as a player and is considered by a lot of people, one of the best ever tournament players, took that program to where in 09, they played in their first ever regional tournament, and it was thrilling. And then, of course, they went to state 3 times in 4 years, never made it out of the semis. One time it was a shame because the second year they were in the semis, they had a chance to win, but a bad referee call. And I'm sorry, no offense to the officials, but it was a bad call. Okay. And it was confirmed by people at the scorer's table, turned the match around, and they never recovered because they had a young crew that hadn't been to state before. So they just didn't recover. And then somehow, some way, they win their 3rd trip. They win set 1. And then they just fall apart and they lose in 4 sets, and it was when Needville won the state tournament that year, and Liberty Hill, at least on paper, had much more talent. But as Butch says, it doesn't matter what is on paper. It's what you do when you're playing in person.
Talking with Chuck Licata with Big Daddy Media. Last time I had you on, I asked you which of the 6 UIL state champs most likely to go back to Garland in November. We both agreed it'd be Blum and one. But what about most likely rematch of the title game? Do you think Giannis will make it back to play Blum in 1A? I mean, for me, I know they lost some key players, but just kind of they played the last 2 years. Could we see Gunner and Bushland round 3?
I think, and first of all, when you say Blum, let's be majestic and say dynasty. Okay, let's give the Lady Cats their due. No, there is not going to be a repeat of any state final from last year, period. I think Blum and Kenyon Randall, Heather Burns over at Kenyon Randall, I think they have the best chance to get back to state. I think Michael Caine certainly does. But you look at Michael Caine in 25-6A, you have Lake Travis, who's won district the last 2 years, and you have Westlake under Miguel Sines. They're returning everybody, and they swept Dripping Springs in one district match at Dripping Springs Court towards the end of last season, and they're really good. So Dripping Springs has a chance to get back to state, but yet they're going to have problems winning their own district because they're just that good. That district is just that good. So I think honestly, and Aubrey and Colleyville Heritage, certainly use this, as a bulletin board. Yeah. I just don't see it. Gunter, love her. Tori Winchell, love her, what she's doing. I think they lost too much talent. Gosh. Oh, and the one other team that I think has a chance to repeat and get back there, we talked about it before. Oh gosh, it was the 1A team that I said I'd love to see the dream matchup. Can't think of it. Benjamin. Yeah. A chance to get back to state again this year because they've got everybody back. That's the that's the Electra girl that's on that team. Yeah. So but yeah, overall Blum and Blum and Kenyon Randall. I'm sorry, that I've had a lot to do with this today. We had an emergency, so I'm getting back.
Blum, Kenyon Randall,
and Kenyon Randall, possibly Dripping Springs. Yep. By the way, again, Bushland's going to win 3A. Period.
You heard it here first, Chuck Licata. Sticking with the state tournament.
Yes.
Oftentimes DFW's talked about being a hot spot for great volleyball, and obviously, like 6A Region 1 and the 5As are just tremendous teams.
Mm-hmm.
But they're kind of in a bit of a drought winning state. Keller had a chance the last 2 years. 2 years ago with Lauren Otto went to the state title game. Last year, Keller finished in the semis.
Mm-hmm.
Flower Mound went in 2020. Byron Nelson with Bree Barker was the last DFW team to win a 6A title in 2019.
Right.
I mean, do you see the drought snapping this year, or do you see another non-DFW team winning in 6A?
And by the way, the year before,
who has the best chance? I'm sorry, who has the best chance?
Oh, okay.
6A?
I would say you look at it: Flower Mound, Plano West, Byron Nelson. Let me get my list here. As far as 60 goes,
Keller again.
Flower Mound, Plano West, Prosper.
Yeah.
And I'm not so sure if they've got what it takes to get the state, but I think they're going to be much improved. We're going to see them we're going to see them next week. So, Boswell might have an outside chance. Yeah. So, and of course, I believe Flower Mound won it the year before Bree and Byron Nelson won. So they won it back to back.
Yeah.
Not like Houston, which has had a huge drought, of state champions. Kingwood Park, upsetting Lovejoy and Kenyon Randall back, was 17, I think. So, or no, 16. And, it's just, as the coaches will tell you, many have told you the same thing. It's great to get there and win one, but man, the next one is just so hard. It really is.
And I think I'd have to look back, but I mean, even before Flowermont, I thought maybe DFW had a long streak because you had the Hebrons when they had a three-peat.
Right.
Yeah. So
Yep. 3 in a row for Karen Keeney.
so
Back
right
in the,
now, if I said for 6A state champs, are you taking DFW? Or are you taking the field?
wow. I'll tell you what, honestly, I'm not playing up because this is basically a DFW broadcast. I'll take DFW. You've got the Woodlands, you got the Houston area, but I think you're going to have a process of elimination there, kind of like with the Austin area with the 3 teams like Travis, Dripping Springs, and Westlake in the same district. One team's going to come out, they're going to get beaten up pretty bad. And it might not get to that point. You might have a San Antonio team. Reagan has done it. O'Connor has done it a couple of times. They've knocked out favorites to get the state. So, I'd take DFW against the field. Who would you take?
Of course, DFW.
Had nothing to do with sponsorships or area of coverage, right? Just, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Talking with Chuck Licata, Big Daddy Media. Now we'll get to the juicy stuff here.
Okay.
The preseason rankings, and our good friend Butch Hart with the Texas Girls Coaches Association.
Mm-hmm.
His rankings last week, August 1st. Again, today, August 7th, is first official regular season games. He had top 10 in every class. I think later when district play starts, he'll have a top 20 or 25 in each class. Right now, he's got all state champs. Number one,
right.
Of course, deserve all of them. Dripping Springs, Colleyville Heritage, Round Gunner, Windthorst, and Blum. But looking at the rankings, are there any surprises? Do you think anyone's too high? Is anyone, should be ranked?
And we'll go through this real quick. 1A, he's got Blum, DeHanis, Benjamin, Natchez, Round Top Carmine is the top 5. I like the number 6 team very best. I think they have a solid team returning. They've been to state before. I think they're probably going to leapfrog Round Top Carmine and or Natchez. I think that's really good. I think that's a solid top 10 right there. In 2A, Windthorst, of course, now owner of the most state championships in volleyball, Jewett-Leon, Iola. They always play 3 times, twice in district and the once for the regional. I think that's how it's going to go. And by the way, is number 14 Crawford? Yeah, we talked about Jeff Coker and what a great program he's established. He lost most of his state team a couple years ago. They're back and they're going to be really good. And he plays a great district. He's got Bremond at number 8. I might have moved them up a couple, but we'll see. And number 10, Water Valley has a chance, I think, to get the state as well. In 3A, he's got Gunter, defending champ, Bushland, Goliad, Tatum. We talked about Bushland. I've already made my declaration on that. Goliad is number 3. That's Jess Odom. She was at state a couple times. She won a recent state championship, I think, in 18. I think Goliad's going to be a team that, if you're not aware right now, you're going to find out a lot about Goliad because I think they make it to state. East Bernard, of course, is legendary in state championships in 2A and 3A. So I think they'll be there as well. Nobody right now that stands out that isn't in it. 4A, Canyon Randall, again, my pick to get the state. Aubrey is number 2. I think that's a little bit high. I think you got Belleville number 3. I think Decatur at number 4 is going to be really good this year. They've got a chance to go back to state. Glen Rose at number 9. I think there's your wild card factor. They host a tournament in a couple weeks. I think Glen Rose, the Tigers, are going to be really good this year. 5A, Colleyville Heritage, Leander Rouse, Birdville, Lake Creek. Frisco Wakeland, I think, is a team that we're going to hear about all year long. They're going to be in top 10 the entire year. Lovejoy, I'll get to in a minute. New Braunfels Canyon had a chance to go to state. It was their year. Heather Sanders has been so good. They dropped the ball, literally. Georgetown has 2, not 1, but 2, 6'3" or taller girls in the middle. They're going to be tough. And then Argyle is always up there. You just never know with them. And finally, 6A, Dripping Springs, the Woodlands. They both went to state. Trip, of course, is defending champ Byron Nelson. He ranks 3rd. Highland Park 4th. Michael Dearman's finally got to get to state sometime.
Yeah.
This may be the year, and that might be that take DFW against the field. Katie Tompkins was the team of the year last year, made the state. There's Reagan. There's the San Antonio team. Bridgeland out of Houston. They don't have to worry about Cy Ranch this year. They'll be good. Kalia McKinney is the new coach there. They're going to be really good, but I think Bridgeland finally gets out of their shadow. And then Austin Westlake, he's got ranked number 10, and Lake Travis is going to be in there somewhere. You just never know. So.
Yeah, just looking at the state rankings, yeah, it's a pretty good list there. For my DFW rankings on GM Sports Media, I have Highland Park number 1 in 6A, coming off that 42-3 record. But yeah, I mean, it's just 6A Region 1 is so tough. It's just surprising that Highland Park, hasn't been to state multiple times.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I don't even know the last time they made it to the regional tournament. They usually lose in round 3, but
Yeah.
maybe this is the year. Bella Ocampo is my pick for the district MVP. I think right now she's playing on some Mexico national team. That tells you how good she is. But then 5, I have Lovejoy, and you kind of want to talk a little bit about Lovejoy.
Yeah, so I asked you for a little 5 minutes last week. It was the dogs. This week it's going to be about your great job, by the way. Kudos on all the previews, the district previews, the top 25, the top 50 players, et cetera, et cetera. I like Highland Park. I love, again, in 4-6A, the Bree Danielle, Barker versus Barker, well, formerly Barker versus Barker type situation. Glen Rose, Decatur, Blum. Gunter, I think you got ranked a little bit too high. No offense, Tori. No offense, Tigers fans, but I think this is going to be more of a rebuild this year than going back to state. Lovejoy, I love Natalie Puckett. As I said, she is going to be one of those coaches that everybody's talking about. I think we're lucky to see her as she gets that program going again. Took over for, the guy that a lot of people call the GOAT. Ryan Mitchell, who of course is at Prestonwood. I can't wait till you see Prestonwood. They are just they're machine. They're machine. Northwest, of course, had their record year last year. They're going to follow that up. I think that the 5A isn't the competition it needs to be, but Northwest is going to be there anyway. Now, here's where we differ. 11-6A. Waxahachie is going to beat Mansfield for the district championship. You have Mansfield predicted first. Wax second. I'm telling you, the Lady Indians are going to take first in that district. I think they return a lot. The coaching succession, from Fawcett, that's going to be nice and smooth. I think Waxahachie wins that one in 6-6A. Such a great district. Such a great district.
Like I said, you can argue toughest district in Region 1.
Yep, absolutely. 2 things I disagree with. I'll call you out on. Flower Mound's going to win district. Okay. Jamie Siegel has told me that. So, they're going to win. Okay. I don't know if she said that directly, but I know they want to win. So,
I mean, they're loaded, with Bree Watson and Catherine Young, both.
Absolutely.
Plano West won it last year, but they lose the best player in district, and Blair Bayless, who's at Pitt now. So we'll see how they kind of transition to this year.
Mm-hmm. And the number in that same district, the number 16 of your prediction, Hebron, they're going to finish number 4. They're going to make the playoffs. Karen Keeney is going to make the playoffs. Watch that. Okay. You can mark the tape right here and call me out if they don't.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm telling you, they're going to do it.
We need, it feels like we need Hebron back in the playoffs. It's been
right. It's been too long.
Yeah.
Too long.
Well, I don't know if you have the updated version for 6-6A. Originally, I think I had, after Flowermont, I think I had Marcus and Coppell making it. And then I think I slotted Plano East third. I'm kind of high on Plano East. They got a transfer.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bishop Lynch transfer from committed to Arkansas. So.
Oh, wow. Okay.
They also got an Alabama commit, so they were one game out of the playoffs last year. But yeah, I had slotted.
I don't argue with that at all.
Yeah,
definitely not. And the last one that I'll call you out on, 2 really good teams. I talked about Stephanie Poole and Allen. I think Allen leapfrogs Prosper and wins 5-6A. and that's going to be a great matchup as well. Prosper, I mean, had a great run in the playoffs last year. Can't argue. Aiden Ames, oh my God, what a great player! It's one of those you go to watch just to see her. Her teammates are really good, but I think Allen, this is the year for Stephanie Poole and Allen to win district.
Yeah, hopefully I get a chance to see Allen. Sophia Wilson, the setter, I think she brings back maybe the second most assists among DFW returners. And I got a couple other Allen kids in my top 50, but yeah, maybe circle that Allen versus Prosper game in district might be fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like we talked about, less broadcast, more chance to go out and watch matches. Go to that one for sure.
And I was going to say about Glen Rose, yeah, I mean, they went to the third round last year. I mean, most likely they'll have to face Decatur again in that round.
Yeah, that's tough.
But
That's tough.
Sandy over there with the Glen Rose, she said they only graduated 2, so they bring back a lot of returners. You mentioned they'll host a Glen Rose tournament,
Mm-hmm.
I think next weekend, but they're fortunate enough they're going back to the Ann Kang Invitational in Hawaii this weekend. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, you got I believe Lovejoy too with Natalie and Boswell. They're all going Cornerstone, I think. So I think 4 teams from Texas
Wow.
are
Go
going
back to your homeland.
yeah, invading my homeland. So
I love it.
that's always a good tournament, Bree
Yes,
was
it
there
is.
1 year, went second in 2019 when they won state. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yep.
but yeah, I mean, is there anything else you'd like to throw out there?
Well, I mean, get out and watch some volleyball. I know football's coming up. A lot of people will change gears a little bit, but go out and watch. Texas has the best volleyball in the nation. Period. Players, coaches, programs. We're the best right here. No question. Get out. Go to a tournament. Battle of the Rockets this weekend. There's other tournaments. Of course, we'll be at NISD Classic in 2 weeks, and then Volleypalooza down in Rouse, in a couple weeks. So. But there's other good tournaments. The Allen tournament going on not this weekend, but next weekend as well. Pearland, of course, the John Turner Classic. Jamie Gill they always put on a great tournament in week 1. So go out and support the girls. Support the programs. They deserve it. These are extremely talented kids, and these are kids like Stephanie told me the other day. They take off 2 days, Christmas and New Year's. That's about it. Otherwise, they're playing volleyball, So, they deserve it. They deserve. And be sure to subscribe to that guy's website right there, because a lot of good stuff, man. A lot of good coverage.
Yeah. Football is king here, but let's not forget that you can go to football on Fridays, but if your Tuesday nights are free, you better be on that volleyball court watching volleyball.
Yep. So,
all right, my friend. Well, always good to see you, and we'll see you there at the Northwest tournament.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to it.
All right, that's Chuck Licata with Big Daddy Media. You can follow on Twitter at Big D Media 19. That's Big D Media 19.
Thank you.
You can go and go say hi to Chuck later this weekend at the Rockwell tournament. And like I said, we'll be on the call in 2 weeks at the Northwest ISD tournament. So looking forward to that. Thanks again, Chuck, and we'll see you soon. This is Brian Goss with Game Time with the Goss. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube and check out our website, gmsportsmedia.com. Until next time, thanks for joining in, and aloha.